Okay, somebody told me that you fellas wanted to negotiate a bit of your guarantee. Well, lucky for you, I've been a negotiator with a side business in New York for many years. So, how about this? I will not pay you, but I will give you this empty box of mints, and then you play and I don't break your legs. Hails, minions and mortals! This is Fang from Lords of the Trident, and this is Michi. Say hi, Michi. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Okay. The music business, like life, involves a lot of push and pull and give and take. Unfortunately for a lot of bands, it feels like the majority of the time is taking it. Promoters that don't actually promote, guarantee payments that magically disappear, and local bands that may or may not show up the night of the show. We're supposed to take all of this with a smile because abrasive bands and bands that are seen as hard to work with quickly stop getting invited to important events. So, when do you push back? How do you know when it's appropriate to throw your weight around? Well, much like negotiations in life, this differs based on the time, person, and circumstance. Perhaps an easier question to ask would be, when is it not appropriate to push back? Well, gather round, kiddies, because it is story time. The following story comes from a very true experience while on tour a million years back. Let's turn the clock back to a simpler time. So, we were about to head out on a longer tour, and a week and a half from the show day, we had a local band threaten to drop from the show unless we moved the entire show back an hour so that they could start later. To paint a full picture, this was a Saturday night and a 4-band show, so it was likely to run until stupid o'clock unless we started early. Not a good place to start. Negotiation point number one. Understand the situation you're negotiating from and how it affects all the parties. In this case, you want to play later because it will help you, but it will likely screw over the last 2 acts. You should assume this is apparent to all parties. Don't get me wrong, local band support is crucial for a good tour show because they will likely bring out about 80% of the crowd. However, the band in question hadn't done a lot of promotion for the show. A week and a half before the show, they didn't even have the link to the event on their Facebook page. They also had a grand total of 270 likes on Facebook and had been around for 5 years. Their music was really good, but I was skeptical about how many people knew that. A successful negotiation is one where all parties feel like they're gaining something. And if you can't do that, at least all parties should feel like everybody's got skin in the game, meaning it shouldn't look like one party got everything they want, even if they did. Negotiation point number 2. Understand your stature in relation to the parties you're negotiating against. I'm a lot more willing to negotiate with a band who has a large fan base because they're likely to bring out more people, and they've proven themselves. Also, if they do pull out, say, 100 people, then they may want to work with the easygoing band again in the future. Oh, and here's a quick pro tip. If you're looking at a band and you can't tell if they've bought their Facebook likes or if their likes on their page are actually legitimate, check how many fans like, share, and comment on their posts. If a band has 10,000 fans but each post only has a few likes, they don't have 10,000 fans. Same thing goes for Twitter. Okay, back to this specific scenario. So what reason did they give for needing to start later? They told us, guys, we got 50 to 60 people coming out to this show, man, but like, they can't make it before 9 p.m. Everybody works late. They're not gonna be able to make it out if we play at like 8:30, bruh. Yeah. Now, as regular viewers are certain to know, I've been around the block a few times. If a band with 1,500 likes on Facebook says they're guaranteeing to bring out 50 or 60 people, that almost means they're bringing 5 or 6. Now, they may have been completely serious that they could pull out 50 people. Spoiler alert, they didn't. But understand that most people who have been booking and playing shows for years have heard that line over and over and over. Without the recognition and consistency to back it up, this is a hard sell. This leads to our next point. Negotiation point number 3. Never use your numbers as ransom unless you've proven multiple times that you can produce them. Look, I don't believe you, neither does the bar or any of the other bands. But if I've seen you play multiple times and you always bring out 100 plus people at every show, now I believe you. A better way to go about this is to use draw numbers in the pre-planning phase as a bargaining chip, i.e., now see here, good sir, the last 3 times my metal band played this establishment, we packed this place. I mean, I like playing here, and our fans certainly love coming here, and we want to continue bringing fans to your place, but we'd like to talk about increasing our compensation a bit. In addition to understanding the situation you're negotiating from, you should also know the players, and not the guitar players. I'm talking about the position and stature of the other bands or people you're negotiating with. Maybe the bar is giving you a crappy deal, but the manager is one of the gatekeepers for opening larger shows in the area. Maybe the bands you're playing with have more clout or more connections than you do. Maybe they can connect you with a completely new market. These are all reasons for giving up short-term gains for longer-term goals. Actually, this should demand its own point. Negotiation point number 4. Understand the players in the game and what they want or need. So going back to the story, the band we were working with was dealing with a show that was set up via a touring band, i.e. us. If this were a local show or even a regional show, there's a lot more leeway available with start times and set links, etc. However, when a band is coming through on tour, that band, or in this case us, have a more stringent schedule. We have contracts, we have price points we have to meet, we have set times, etc. This has all been worked out in advance. Now, if the touring band has a decent following, you're not really playing to play, you're playing to build relationships and influence their fan base to like you. Nearly our entire 2016 Canadian tour was made possible because of our connections with Unleash the Archers and Crimson Shadows. And you know what? When they played Wisconsin, we opened that show and we didn't make a whole lot of money because the touring bands needed it more than we did. Making a good impression means that certain bands are willing to return the favor. The end goal is to get as many friendship bracelets as possible. I just realized I don't actually have any friendship bracelets, so I just had rubber bands. Finally, and this is an important one, the band in the story came to us thinking they were negotiating from a position of power. Less people in the club equals less money, exposure, and a bad show. However, what they didn't know is that via our performance contract with the club, we already had a guarantee that met our daily monetary goal. Of course, we still want to play to as many people as possible, but our primary goal is to stay afloat financially. Because we've already met our goal, we could play with no other bands and still be fine. We could play to an empty room and we'd be totally fine. This immediately diffuses any threats that they could make. Negotiation point number 5. Only show the cards you need to play. A poker player doesn't win by immediately showing the entire table his hand. Assume that everybody is withholding information and try to figure out what information that is. Music is a team sport, and the goal should be to help those bands around you succeed. But the reality is that sometimes you'll run into a situation where you need to skillfully negotiate your way into a better position. Remember, the mark of a good negotiator is not winning. It's coming away from negotiation where no one feels that they've completely lost. Now, to clarify and to bring a happy end to this story, we spoke with the band in question and we laid out all of these points as well as ways that they could improve. I mean, their music was really good, and we've all made these type of negotiation mistakes before, but they needed some constructive criticism. There were no hard feelings and everybody came away from these talks happy. Did you come away from this video happy? Well, if so, don't forget to sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Lords of the Trident. Stay metal, and we will see you next time.